Here's a worksheet that I'm going to attach as a resource to this lecture. It's going to help you actually start implementing the business-to-business copywriting framework, SPF. And as you can see on the first column here, I have the three components: the stages, psychology, and funnel. And then on the right column is the key message that we're going to implement for each of these rows. And what you're going to do is just dot down ideas that you have here for what the key message could be. And it may be some guesses. It may be something you need to get around to research later. You might have to go through your customer relationship management system, perhaps, to get a better idea. But let's just jot down some ideas in the beginning and then refine it later. So stages. This is about creating content based on the level of knowledge that the prospective customer has. So people that are problem unaware. What I'm going to do is just walk you through an example. What we're doing is we're selling dictation software to the medical industry. And an example of a key message for people that aren't even aware they have a problem is that typing medical records wastes 2 hours per day per doctor. Now, I don't know if that's true. I'm just sort of making up hypothetical examples. Basically, we're pointing out just how big this problem is and that it's not some small thing that you can ignore. Category unaware, so they're not aware of dictation as a category, or not well informed about it. Okay, it's not just that they have never heard of it, it's that they don't really know what it does or how it works. So the key message that we want to communicate there, whether it's in videos or social media or ads or emails, the medium doesn't really matter. The key message is dictation can cut your medical record in time in half. So that's what we're trying to prove. And we can do that by broadcasting a video that people do not need to sign up to see. Or it could be a gated white paper. It could be all sorts of different things. Just don't get stuck on the idea that you need to capture leads at each of these stages. That's not what it's about. It's about education, not conversion. Okay, so product unaware, people that are not aware of your brand or your specific product. Here we're going to say, cut your medical record time in half with brand X. Something else you might want to say is that your brand is the #1 choice or the default option or the only one that works with this practice management system that you have. Often it's focusing on what makes you different, but if they're not that familiar with the category, then you pretty much just take the same positioning as the product category. So whatever value all the products, including your competitors, provide may be the one that you highlight the most. Now, an important thing to note here is the difference between a strategic and a non-strategic purchase. So when you're selling a strategic product, what that means is that you help your customers differentiate their products to their customers. Okay, so them buying your product gives them differentiation. But lots of products out there are what we call non-strategic purchases, which means they buy your product, but you don't actually help them differentiate themselves. So ball bearings, for example, are a non-strategic purchase, right? It's just like an ingredient in your machine or just a necessary purchase. Ballpoint pens are not a differentiating thing when an office buys it. A live chat plugin on your website is usually not a strategic purchase. It helps with sales, it helps with the website experience, but it doesn't fundamentally differentiate one company buying a live chat versus another that goes with a different live chat. A strategic purchase is things where it makes a fundamental difference in the business. So for example, Amazon sellers, what makes Amazon sellers different? It's their portfolio of products. So if an Amazon seller buys a product that helps them choose what kind of portfolio of products to sell, then that product, an example is Jungle Scout, is a strategic purchase because it's a purchase that helps with differentiation. So when you're selling a non-strategic purchase, differentiation just doesn't really matter. Okay, if you're selling ball bearings or oil, commodities like that, you don't need to focus on why you're different from competitors. What you focus on instead in the messaging is things like how easy the sales process is, how we're going to give you the 24-hour support. We're going to give you free onboarding. We're going to help make this process as easy as possible with as many guarantees. Okay, it's not about emphasizing difference. Now, the other thing is that if there aren't a lot of players in your space and it's not super competitive, in those cases, differentiation matters less as well, because prospective customers may not be comparing you to anyone. So those are just some big considerations when you're thinking about how you make people aware of your product. Make sure you understand the competitive landscape that you're participating in and whether you're a strategic purchase or not. Okay, next stage, product aware. An example here would be get a demo of Brand X and receive a $50 Amazon gift card. So once somebody's aware of your product, then you can push them for special offers or things that are a little more aggressive in terms of getting them into sales conversations. It might be when you have your sales development rep, your SDR or BDR, reach out to prospects because they're already familiar with your product. Maybe they're interested in doing a demo or signing up for a free trial. Now, moving on to psychology. Psychology in this case is about choosing words that will change people's minds. Reactants. An example would be having multiple calls to action. Multiple calls to action gives people the feeling of agency. So, for example, in an email, you might send out an option to do a demo, a free trial, or a 3-minute video. In a conversation ad that you send through LinkedIn, you can have those 3 different calls to action. You can have up to 5. I think 3 is a good number. Endowment. An example, you're spending too much time on bureaucratic tasks that can lead to burnout. Inefficiencies will compound as your clinic grows. So I'm kind of highlighting the cost of inaction, that things are going to get worse if you do nothing about it. Now, keep in mind, when we're talking about key message, we don't necessarily mean headline. This is just the main thing we want to communicate. We can worry later about making it sound perfect, making it the right character length for the medium that we chose, like a specific ad type. Worry about the details later. Now it's more about what is the main thing we're trying to communicate and address. Distance. An example here would be just try 1 dictation, no email or credit card needed. So very low commitment. Get results fast, quick wins. It's not about selling the whole product. It's just getting them to do 1 key action that shows value. Uncertainty, free 30-day trial and 3-month money-back guarantee. Okay, we're mitigating the risk a lot. Corroborating evidence, used by the president of the medical association or some sort of trusted authority in the industry. Funnel. So here, what we're focused on is creating content to fix problems or to address objections that surface at each of these lead type stages. And your funnel might look a little bit different. So for example, with product-led growth, you might have something called a PQL, which is a product qualified lead. That means typically somebody that has done enough behavior in your product to suggest that they would get value from signing up for a paid plan. But this is a fairly common type of funnel that you might have in business to business. You might also modify it if you're doing account-based marketing. But it's a good starting point. So marketing capture leads, these could be, for example, just cold leads that you purchased. The easiest way to spend less time on paperwork. Okay, we're teeing up the information about the main value of the category. Marketing engage lead. So we're trying to entice people to actually start engaging with the emails we're sending or the ads. 100 free transcriptions per month might be enough to entice somebody to actually become an MQL, like to sign up for a free trial or to request a demo. Okay, now after they've requested the demo or hit some sort of marketing qualified lead stage, now what you want to do is get them to actually have a conversation with the sales team. So you might say, we'll show you how to shave off 10 hours of wasted time. So here what we're doing is highlighting the benefits of the demo. So by attending the demo, you're going to learn how to save 10 hours every week or something like that. So One thing that gets understated in business-to-business marketing is selling the offer itself, the offer being something like a demo, the white paper, the webinar. What are the takeaways from attending? Okay, so now that they've had a conversation with sales, now what we're interested in is creating some sense of urgency so they'll actually buy in a few months or perhaps up to half a year. So we might say something like prices are going to roll out in Q1 that are higher than they currently are. So if you want to get locked in at the current prices and grandfathered in, you better make your purchase this quarter. Or we could say something else, like just highlight the cost of inaction, as we did earlier in the psychology. So saying something like, you're losing billable hours every day. So by wasting time on paperwork, that could be 2 hours every day that you're billing out, or that you're just spending making your clients and your patients happy, something like that. Okay, so once they've actually had a conversation with the salesperson, now what we're trying to do is we get them to the point where they feel like they need to make a purchase soon, or in this quarter perhaps. And now what we need to do is push them to actually become a paying customer. So to actually sign the contract, or in some cases actually input the payment into the program, depending on how big of a product you're selling. So here we might say something like, we're giving away premium upgrades to the first 5 customers to sign up. So if you want to automatically get premium accounts instead of just basic accounts, then we're creating a sense of urgency here. Now, depending on whether you're selling to large enterprises or small businesses is going to adjust how you approach this. So more kind of cheesy, gimmicky discounts like Act Now, that kind of stuff, that can work very well if you're selling to small businesses. If you're dealing with enterprises that have a lot more power and longer buying cycles, you trying to artificially create urgency is going to be less effective. And often the ways that you do it are not as gimmicky. It's more talking about what they're losing by not acting soon. And it doesn't come with any price concessions or anything. I mean, large companies are going to probably beat you down on price anyways, just because they have the power to do it. Okay, so now they're a customer. So you've created enough urgency to get them to pay. Now the thing is, how do you take those customers and get them to buy more, or in some cases just get them to remain loyal? Now, when they're loyal, or to maintain loyalty, what you might do is send like celebration emails, like you did 100 transactions this month. Congratulations, or congratulate them for becoming a super user, positive reinforcement, that kind of thing. But to actually get them to pay for something, you might say something like this, which would come from a case study. Company A shaved another hour per day with our optimization add-on. So, hey, maybe you should buy our optimization add-on. So I'm going to provide this with the right column empty so that you can fill it out yourself and get a bit of brainstorming going about how you can improve your content portfolio using the SPF framework.